Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're on episode 227. Today is March 3rd. My name is Craig Perales, and joining me, Mandrew Montemer.
Bro, this year's already flying by, it feels like.
I completely forgot that February was a short month because some things dropped on the 27th, and I'm like, oh, cool, I got a couple more days to play something. And then my gamer score reset, and I'm like, wait, it should be like the 29th. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's right, it ended, and today's the 1st.
I forgot too until I was looking up last night before the show. I was like, let's see how far Craig is on Resident Evil or how much time he's put into it. But when I pulled up your achievements, I saw Final Fantasy 3. I was like, well, it doesn't come out till March. I had to check the date. I'm like, it's already the 4th?
Yeah, I did start nibbling on that little Game Pass nugget the other day. So guys, welcome for joining the show. If you're checking us out on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. If you guys want to follow us on any of our social media, our Linktree links in the description. We have a Facebook group you can join. We're posting a lot more of our reviews and stuff on Instagram. If you guys are interested in the audio-only version of the podcast, you can find us on your podcast platform of choice. So, before we dive into our main topics, we'd like to do Off the Top, where we kind of go over some news. These particular items were kind of bigger news a week or so ago, but at this point we'll just do Off the Top and kind of just let you know what's been going on if you haven't heard. And the first one is that unfortunately Bluepoint is now being shut down.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. Sony is shutting down Austin-based Bluepoint Games, the acclaimed PlayStation studio behind Demon Souls of 2020 and Shadow of Colossus remakes, in March 2026. Now, as far as we know, the decision follows a recent business review by Sony, according to Bloomberg and PC Gamer. We know that it's supposed to be set in March 2026. I don't think they have a set date yet. Approximately 70 staff members will be impacted, though Sony has indicated efforts to find positions for some within its global network. So let me just read this to you real quick. This comes from IGN. It says, Bluepoint Games doors are closed. 5 years after Sony stepped through them to welcome the developer staff into the warm embrace of the PlayStation Studios family, they have been locked for good. Without releasing a single game, another acquisition has been swallowed by the void that modern PlayStation is increasingly transforming into. A place where play has no limits, but seemingly also has no plan. In the last 7 years, 10 different studios have been acquired by Sony. Half of those never released a game. 3 now don't even exist. It's bleak and yet another sign that Sony has seemingly lost its way over the course of the PS5 generation. By the launch of the PS5, Bluepoint had graduated from solid remasters to cutting-edge remakes. Its recreation of Demon Souls remains to this day one of the console's most graphically accomplished games, and its careful replication of From Software's precursor to Dark Souls reminded us all of why the timeless action RPG laid the groundwork for a genre that would define a generation. And yet, despite this triumph, Demon Souls was Bluepoint's final release. So, yeah, this is horrible mismanagement. It's crazy to think that by the time they bought them, they put out no new games. A lot of people are pointing fingers at Herman Holst and his kind of mismanagement. Obviously, he was a big part of what happened with Concord and Fair Games. But this was a studio that was meant to be bought and designed to do remakes and remasters. And you could argue hands down that they were the best in the business. And what Sony should have been doing is using them to build legacy titles. They should be going back in their PS3 catalog, PS4, and putting things on to the PS5. And there was a couple of things I just want to point out of showing why Bluepoint was either being mismanaged or at least maybe not being taken in the direction that they should have, because they did do a lot of work on God of War Ragnarok as a support team. They obviously did their remasters and their remakes, but as a support team, they were pretty deep in God of War Ragnarok. So it makes sense that they know kind of the ins and outs. And they were supposed to be doing a God of War live service, which on paper, nobody asked for it. It doesn't sound interesting at all. And it literally is a waste of what the studio is meant to do. And that project got canceled. The next thing I wanted to point out was that apparently they were rejected for doing a Bloodborne remake. Now that's kind of here or there. There's some articles speaking about it, but Sony does own the IP for this. So at that point, if From Software is the one rejecting it, then Sony needs to figure out what to do to make that happen, because that's what they should have been doing. And then finally, when you're looking at what they were working on that got canceled, the live service, and what they're supposed to be doing is remakes, especially for Bloodborne, the highest remake that anyone's asking for, they were denied the ability to make new original IP. And in my case, I would agree with that. They shouldn't be. What they should be doing is remakes. But when you're looking at the 3 avenues of what was going on with them, doing a live service game that they shouldn't be doing, denied what they should be doing, and then being told that they're not allowed to do something original, it's like, what were you doing with this studio? Because Bluepoint is one of the best in the business, and the fact that they're being shut down makes no sense, especially in a world where you could have sold them off or let them become independent. And it's a sad, sad day, because for a lot of people, we were looking forward to games like remake projects like Killzone, Resistance, Infamous. Perhaps if they were doing a new title, do a new SOCOM. So for me, man, Bluepoint, I am highly like, this is the one you're gonna let go out of all the studios Sony has. Andrew, you saw it. I'm sure you're upset just as I am.
Yeah, it really does suck, because I remember too when we were watching like the new consoles and new stuff coming out, I don't feel like there was anything that screamed next gen to me right away until Demon's Souls came out. That was like the marquee, like when we seen it, like, okay, now this is a beautiful game. Granted, gorgeous. It maybe looks different. They've taken some liberties from the original. Yeah, it did just come out that they were trying to work on a Bloodborne remake, but it got rejected, and the word is that it came from Software's decision,
makes no sense.
Not Sony. So I don't know if maybe they weren't happy with how Demon's Souls turned out, or maybe, I know Miyazaki himself has said that I believe that that's like his favorite title that he's ever done. So maybe it's a personal project that he wants to work on. But regardless, it does still fall back on Sony, because one, why are you going to take a team who seemingly is just built for either remakes or just single player, that sort of style game, and put them onto a live service that nobody asked for, that doesn't even sound like it's good? I don't even know what a live service
would be with God of War. Who are you going to play as?
Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And then even their wording just doesn't make any sense. So like, after financial restructuring, we've come to the decisions for, why we can't do this anymore. They're not a huge team. They're a team of like, I think it's like 60, 70 people. And it's like, you're telling me you couldn't find a place for 70 people, but then you have people like, is it Media Molecule?
Media Molecule.
Who made
Ben Studio not doing anything?
Yeah, what was that game that they spent forever making Dreams and didn't do fuck all, and you couldn't find time for these guys? It makes zero sense. I just don't know what world that was even allowed to be going on.
Yeah, we always kind of poke fun at Xbox and Microsoft, and we'll get into something else about them, but you can't forget that, this is a blunder move by Sony PlayStation, and it's just unfortunate, because it's like, I love PlayStation as much as the next person, but it's like, out of all the studios, again, you have all these, and not to, you can't badmouth them too much. They are opening up new studios and doing new things and moving in a direction that I guess is set for them. And of course, they want to get into the live service stuff, but it's like, you used the wrong team and you pivot them in 3 different directions that made no sense for them. And it's like, please, don't do this to anybody else. You just lost one of your best studios.
It's crazy too, because we were just talking last week about the God of War trilogy remake, and we're like, oh, Bluepoint would be the perfect team for this.
Yeah.
Hyping them up, and then this dropped shortly after.
And again, and they're doing mismanagement with that. Santa Monica is behind it. And it's like, yeah, you should have been using your studio that you bought to do, and now closing them down. So, terrible news. And if leave you guys' thoughts down below. Anything else on Bluepoint?
No, except for Sony obviously didn't have to suffer too long, because this next story that we're going to talk about that's going crazy literally happened right after. So it always seems like Microsoft just can't, as soon as someone else, like, all right, the bad news is on them, whatever, they're the ones taking all the strife, Microsoft has to stand up and be like, oh, all right, let's fuck this up now.
Yeah, here's our turn. So the next off the top story we have, guys, is that Xbox leadership has gone through some change, with Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond kind of leaving the picture. As of February 23rd, 2026, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer is retiring after 38-year tenure, and Sarah Bond has resigned as president of Xbox. This major leadership shakeup following cloudy fortunes of the brand sees Asha Sharma take over as the new CEO of Microsoft Gaming. Which is very interesting, because this really kind of happened out of nowhere. Usually when someone's retiring, they have their eyes set on the next few projects, or at least how they're going to be kind of going out. A lot of people are looking at this as bad news. Some people see this as good news. There's rumors of, is this all kind of smoke and mirrors, and they're actually going to be retiring the Xbox brand? I don't really see it that direction, although I'm not 100% sure she's the best. But what she is good at is growing user acquisition and building brands. I know she came from what was she working with? She was working with like Uber Dash or something. I'll find it here in a second. But she does have some good things, and she was the big AI point. I will point out this
AI core, yeah.
Yeah, because this is something I do want to dive more into, but it's kind of quick. We don't know a ton about it. And Andrew, if you want to jump in with a couple other things, I do want to point out that she said 3 things: that she wants to bring the company back to great games, which is investing in franchises, bold ideas, and empowering studios. And with that, she promoted Matt Booty to COO. She wants the return of Xbox, which commits to players and console. So if you're worried about them not sticking around in console and becoming a digital and sticking to mainly just being a publisher, she leans towards maybe that's not the direction she wants to go. And then finally, the future of play, where they're going to, support the teams, the characters, and the worlds, and not milk and monetize them. And a lot of people are saying, where's her resume come from? Where's her pedigree come from? How good is she as a gamer? And as much as I think that does mean something, and if you want to jump into the whole thing she was having with Ryan McCaffrey about her gamer tag, that's fine. But at the same time, it's like, I'd argue that we had gamers running this thing for 30 years, and it didn't go anywhere. And as much as I love Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, and they did do great things, because the numbers show that certain things were done well under Phil Spencer and some ideas were good, but you can't deny that hardware sales are beyond down quarter after quarter, and Game Pass is down. So I'm not terribly upset that they got new blood in here, because I think you need to, and I think it took too long to do so. I'm just not sure where I land on Asha Sharma being the person. So I'm kind of on the fence right now. How do you see it?
I do like her opening statement as far as like what she needs to bring back and what's important.
Yeah, she had a very long
and identity, bringing back Xbox as a brand, not console war style, but just as a brand. Same way Sony is still a brand. Same way Nintendo fans are still a brand. So there are, it does sound nice on paper. I think the biggest worry was just everyone was like, okay, is this just to push more AI? But again, I don't know that she would. It's hard kind of looking at her background because there's not too much, but it just says she worked on the core team. So as far as like that's building the team, maybe pushing some stuff, but I don't know about implementation. I think it is a crazy kind of situation to come out of nowhere though, because I think Phil Spencer's retirement thing, normally they announce that like a while in advance, or by this timeline, maybe see to the next Xbox and then retire after that.
Right.
It was announced 3 days before, like over a weekend on a random note, and it's like, okay, Monday he's going to retire. And then even Satya Nadella put out like a big blog post saying, thank you, Phil, thank you for our team, we're promoting this, we're doing that. Not a single mention of Sarah Bond at all. No thank yous, no good works, no nothing. I don't even think she mentioned anything about leaving either on her personal stuff. And then to take it a step further, after this all dropped and, there's still just more and more stuff coming out, The Verge randomly put out an article that kind of almost reads as like a hit piece saying like, Phil was more like the negligent father, kind of maybe trying to do his best, but maybe a little burnout from, the stress or, trying to do what he can. And Sarah was kind of leading things, and her plans were this is an Xbox, which I guess everyone hated behind the scenes, and there's just a lot of things with her not going well with anybody. But it's just like, I find it kind of hard to believe that the second in command was running the ship. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah, at that point he might have been burned out, man. But it is weird, and I do think over the next couple of weeks there's going to be a lot more to say, and when that does happen, I do kind of want to take a magnifying glass to it a little more and kind of see more. But again, though, off the top, just in case you weren't sure, or I'd like to know anyone's opinion, because it is a big thing.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. If you didn't have anything else, I have one quick high off the top.
Well, I have one more, which is this, but if you want to go first, you can.
Oh, sure. Mine, they just announced today, for any of you that were really excited, Highguard is officially closing down their servers and everything on March 13th. So that game that everyone hyped up from the Game Awards and this and that I don't think looked that good to begin with, has, what's it been, like a month?
If that, yeah.
So that game is officially going to be done on March 13th, which is absolutely crazy, and it just seems like just a huge waste of just resources.
Did you see that they found out that a lot of the backing was coming from Tencent?
Yeah.
And now it was like all Chinese money, and at that point it's like, there's some whole, and we can get into that conspiracy later down the line of like, was Jeff Keighley doing things, posting it on there to satisfy Tencent as a big, organization, or was it actually a good game that he liked?
Versus, no, I have this great game for you gamers that you're going to love at the end, which is how it was originally viewed. And I remember everyone online, even you and me, like, that was your ending? Like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, so, I mean, it sucks. I'm sure that game was like, some people liked it, and I'm sure it was good, but the way
Not enough.
Yeah, the way it was hyped, it was going down. But now that I know that it's Tencent, I care a little less. So.
Yeah.
And then the final guys thing off the top, we won't spend too much time on it. Just if you haven't seen it, I'll throw a picture up right now, is that The new show from Amazon, the God of War show, released its first picture of Kratos and Atreus, and it's getting a lot of ridicule. And I don't necessarily, if you guys are watching the YouTube show, I don't necessarily dislike it, but something about it just looks a tad off. And as far as Atreus goes, obviously it doesn't look like him, but if you are going to be doing a show with a kid and it's going to be a couple seasons, you do kind of want to get him a little bit younger, because he does look a little bit younger, and kids are going to sprout up so quick and so fast. It's mainly Kratos, where
it just looks like cosplay to me.
Yeah, it looks like cosplay, and I mean, the position. This picture looks like something that would never be used from God of War. Like, the face looks a little off. A lot of people are saying that it looks like he's taking a shit, but there was something that popped up today, actually, as opposed to yesterday when we wanted to do it. Is that the actor was stating that don't trust everything you see online. I think he said it in an Instagram post. So it leads me to believe that maybe this isn't actual out of context, I guess. But this is an Amazon released picture, so it's hard for me to think that it's not. But Kratos is still kind of ripped, and he is a big guy. I'm just looking at that stomach, and he's got a Thor move going on. It's just like, I wish he just would have got a tad more in shape. But I'm not looking forward to the show. It's just, as a first picture, you could have really have picked anything else.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing. It's like, don't believe everything you read online. Believe what? The picture you guys officially dropped. It's not like it's a leaked screenshot or something. So yeah, I don't get it. It's obviously not very flattering, but I'll wait and see. But at the same time, if you're going to put out an image like that, you deserve to get criticized for it.
So that's everything we have for Off the Top. Is there anything else you want to add?
No.
Alrighty, guys. So leave your thoughts and comments down below about everything we just went over. So moving into our main topics, our first story is that there was a brand new Pokemon Presents, which was on February of 2026, which celebrated the franchise's 30th anniversary with 25 minutes of updates. Now, I'll gently kind of talk on everything. I do want to pause more on the games that they announced. I will say this, as a Pokemon Presents, they did go over everything that the Pokemon fan base has access to, every little bit of game. Now, whether or not you like it, because I certainly don't enjoy half of it, it's not for me and I don't click with it, but there's no denying that Nintendo, the Presents that did it, hit everything. So if there's anything you were waiting on, whether it be Pokemon Go, the cards, anything like that, the Snap, they hit something for everybody. So before I kind of touch base with it, did you have a chance to kind of rekindle it, or did you still think it was fluff and nonsense?
I just didn't care for maybe what they showed, and maybe, again, it's not for me, so I wouldn't call it bad, but it's just maybe not what I'm looking forward to from Pokemon, or maybe just not what I'm looking for right now with Pokemon.
Perfect. So I have three things I want to stop on. Let me know if you want to stop on anything else. The first thing they unveiled was a Pokemon game music collection and a tiny Game Boy player.
Now that I do love.
Yeah, it does have 45 songs and 45 cartridges. It just seems kind of like old tech at this point, so it's more of a novelty item to have and a cool thing to keep.
But way cool.
And it's way cool that it works. So,
it sounds great though.
It sounds really cool. They touched on the Pokemon trading card game set featuring Mew and Mewtwo being teased. They went on with Pokemon Go celebrates 10 years of returning Pokemon. Pokemon Masters X and Pokemon Cafe remix getting updates throughout the week. Pokemon Trading Card Pocket gets new booster sets and celebration event. This is the first one I want to stop on, is that Nintendo Switch 2 GameCube Classic gets Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, which is coming to Nintendo Switch 2 via its GameCube Classics catalog. Expect to hear more in the coming weeks before it officially launches on Nintendo Switch Online plus the expansion pack members sometime in March. So now that we're in March, it will be coming out this month. Man, I never had a GameCube, but I'm slowly starting to go back and play more GameCube classics. And this one is perfect. And it's weird because I kind of forget about this game. And this seems to me like when everyone's like, we need a 3D animated Pokemon game. Like, everyone was waiting for the Switch games to come out. We need something new and refreshing. We need new Pokemon. It's like, does nobody remember this game? Because you start off, if you guys are watching the YouTube, you'll be seeing the trailer. This looks like what everyone wanted, and you don't start off with 3 starters. You start off with Eevee at level 10, so it's up to you to change it. And he has access to all the evolutions like Umbreon and all that. So for me, I'm like, dude, this is the game that I cannot wait to play. And it's weird that I don't know if maybe there is, maybe there isn't. that there was never any more spin-offs of this particular game, and they kind of stuck with the, the red and green and gold and silver titles instead of sticking with the XD, because I'm looking at it going, man, that's what I want to play. Did you ever play this game, or how'd you like it?
No, I never got a chance to. I had a GameCube. I love GameCube. I honestly might say it's like my favorite console on the right day, and this is just one of those ones that I missed, but I'm looking forward to trying it.
Right, but can't you see what it's like, dude? It's like everyone's complaining about, like, oh, we got cool Switch games with Arceus and all that stuff. It's like, dude, we already had this game. So for me, I thought that was really cool, and I cannot wait to play it. They go on to show that Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno come to Pokemon Unite. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green to receive home support. Pokemon Champions gets Nintendo Switch and mobile release date windows. Pokemon Legends ZNA Mega Garchomp Z announced. Pokemon Pocopia gameplay highlights. That game just came out. It got rated
today, didn't it?
It got rated really well. Maybe I kind of skipped over the red and green. But as far as the red and green go, Fire Red and Leaf Green are out now for the Switch. All of my friends on Switch are playing it. Me, Cien, my buddy Luis, Casey, we're all on it. In our Discord, everyone's talking about it, all the starters. This thing blew up, and as I don't like it. It should have been something that's, if you have the Switch 2, it should have been in the GBA
collection.
In the collection. Unfortunately, it isn't. They are $19.99 a piece, but I mean, those things are going to sell like gangbusters. So I definitely bought mine. I usually always go with Fire Red. This time I wanted to I wanted to start it with a team that I've never played before. So I bought Leaf Green and I started with Bulbasaur. And I'm going to pick a whole new team of guys I don't normally play. Like, I usually always have a Nidoking and things like that. I'm going to try to go with or a Gyarados. I'm going to try to do something original.
It's just crazy. They're kind of like the only company who gets away with this and people don't say anything about it. But, literally, it's probably just like a ROM of the game on there. It's not like it's new or revamped or something. That they could have sold this for $10. Would have been a fair price.
Exactly. They should have given it for free.
Yeah.
And finally, they ended it with a good banger. That there's the new Pokemon Generation 10, which is titled Winds and Waves, and they have a nice big trailer. So let me read this real quick. It says, the Pokemon Company closed out today's presentation by revealing Pokemon Gen 10. The announcement trailer for the new games, titled Pokemon Winds and Waves, began with a nostalgic look at some of the many different places the series has traveled to over the years. Then, just as it seemed the show was over, we saw gameplay of the next new Pokemon games. Footage showed off new locations to catch new monsters in, as well as the first look at the new starters, which I believe are Brout, which is a grass type, Gekwa, which is water type, and Pombon, which is fire type. You can see the 3 little friend players can choose above while we wait for Winds and Waves to launch sometime in 2027. It looks great. So I think this is finally, if you're into the Switch ones, this is going to be the game you want to play. It looks cool. The starters look really unique. I like the title Winds and Waves because it does seem like it's going to be more than just traveling on the ground. I was talking with Andrew off camera, the underwater, if they do an underwater kind of thing,
which it kind of looks like,
you can start kind of hunting for Pokemon down in the water. It'd be cool if you get one of those little things that kind of motor you along. I think it's a home run.
Do you have a definitive starter? I'm feeling Pombon.
I usually always go fire first, but Gekwa looks kind of cool, I think, too.
I think Gekwa looks cool, but no, it's Pombon.
Are you gonna get it this time around? Because you and I skipped ZA.
Yeah,
because for me, it's just, I'm like, this looks like more of the same. And this being officially Gen 10
aesthetic, because it just shouldn't seem like you're going anywhere. It just seems like you're in a city. I'm like, well, I don't really care for that. So if this is just out and you're open and the world kind of doing whatever in these different regions, I'm for that.
Nice. So anything else you want to add on the Pokemon Presents?
Nope.
Alrighty, guys. So leave your thoughts down below. And with that being said, guys, let's move into our second main topic, and that is Resident Evil 9 Requiem, which we're both playing at the moment. I'm playing it. Mandrew's playing it. Sam's playing it. She's actually having a blast. So just catch up. Requiem is a 2026 survival horror game developed and published by Capcom. It is the 9th main Resident Evil game, and it follows Resident Evil Village. And I was pointing out, if you haven't played 7 or 8, because the game is at $69.99, and Sam, we actually got her the Generation Pack, which is $89.99. So for $20 more, if you haven't played 7 or 8, you can get all 3 games, which is quite a good bundle.
I think that's only on the Switch.
Is it only on the Switch? I could have sworn it was on more. It
might be. I thought it was a Switch.
Okay, it might be on the Switch because that's where we bought hers. But I thought that was a great game, and because she's been going back and doing the Assassin's Creed, and now she's got all 3 of her Resident Evils, and she's having a joy. So, Here's a quick setting of what it is. The story of Requiem is set in October 26, 28 years after the destruction of Raccoon City. It follows FBI intelligence analyst Grace Ashcroft, the daughter of Resident Evil Outbreak protagonist Alyssa Ashcroft, and Division of Security Operations agent Leon S. Kennedy. And I'll kind of just leave it at that. So, just starting off, before we kind of dive into more of the game, the visuals on this game are absolutely mind-blowing. Like, playing this game looks so good. Seeing the images on these zombies, or I don't know if we're calling them zombies, but whatever they are, the infected, their faces is scary. And I just saw that somebody on Steam got their money refunded and left a comment that the game is too scary. So, starting with the visuals, Andrew, compared, you're a big Resident Evil fan, compared to all the other ones, I mean, this is a shiner. I mean, this is them taking the RE engine and, I don't want to say perfection, but clearly the best running so far.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with the RE engine over there, but it's just consistently getting better. This game really is good looking, and not to mention, it runs amazing. Like, I haven't had any hiccups, any flaws, anything. I think the only issue I've had with this game at all, and it didn't happen until later on towards the end, is for some reason I upgraded my shotgun, and the sling that like wraps around your shoulder went stiff and straight, and so it was like super long.
I know that game,
but it didn't change anything. And then when I would switch back to my pistol, it would fix itself. But then if I put it back, it would just be out. But other than that, zero issues. It's such a good looking game, and it just runs so well. It is just so nice, especially in a world like today, where how many games drop and they just run bad, you gotta wait for a big update, you gotta wait for a patch, you gotta wait for this, for that, whatever to fix stuff, game-breaking bugs. I haven't had a single issue, and I haven't heard people having any issues.
Nice. So I have a couple of bullet points if we'll kind of go down, but I do want to start off by saying that I think maybe halfway through the game, Andrew has beaten the game, and so we will do our best not to give away spoilers unless I guess we give a spoiler warning, but it's nice to see that this has been rated, the best Resident Evil?
Yeah, I think so, and I think it might even be one of the best selling. Like, I know numbers. I think it said it had like over 300,000. Like, this game is absolutely killing it. I even seen an article where people are like saying, you know, this game is the reason why PS5s are like sold out on the online Sony store, because they were just filled up until getting close until this game was coming out. So
yeah, so it's doing great. So I'll kind of just start with the bullet points, and anything else you want to add in, feel free to add in. So I just want to start off first with the characters of Grace and Leon, which I think there's a perfect example of showing the rookie versus the veteran, because she is kind of very, I don't want to say annoying, but at first she is kind of, really kind of scared and all these things. And then Leon comes in and just kind of kicks ass. And I guess we can kind of compare it with the gameplay, because she's played from a first-person perspective, and it's kind of leaning more towards that's how you should be playing it for the horror aspect. You know, this is her first running with the infection, and it plays more kind of like an escape room. You've got to be really careful, and you've got to pick where you go. You got to ration your ammo very carefully, especially on the harder difficulties. And then as you switch over to Leon, man, it feels nice to be like, finally, this is what somebody who knows the name of the game, pun intended, can run through and just kind of kick everyone's ass with the way he fights and his gun style. So how do you like the balance between Grace and Leon? And do you think the first and third person lends itself? Because this is the first time Resident Evil's done something like this, right? This is a new swing for them. And for me, I think it really works.
It's the first time they've had something switch back and forth between the games like this, because they added, I don't know if it was off the rip on 8 to where they had third person in, but I know eventually it was added. And I think first person they actually added to 3, unless that was just like modded for the 3 remake. I like, too, that it gives you the choice. It tells you this is the intended way to play. Grace is first person, Leon is third. But you can change it how you want to. Now that I'm starting to get in my other runs, I'll probably just do third person. But no, it lends to it super well, and it definitely creates that balance of horror. You could have horror in third person. Resident Evil 2 Remake is horror, but Resident Evil 3 Remake is, a lot more horror. It's not as action as
like
4. It's like 4, 5, and 6. But yeah, it is inherently scary when you can't see. There's tons of times where I'm like fighting something, and then I'll just see a hand or something come out of the side of the camera, and it scares the hell out of me. So I'm like, I didn't even hear you coming up behind me.
Yeah, but that is one of the things that I love about how kind of scary it is that you've got to have the volume up to hear where things are coming, and then sometimes I'm not sure which direction. Maybe I should be playing with my headphones. Maybe that'll be a little different, because I'm playing it now on the Xbox in the game room, and Sam's playing it in the living room. So maybe I should turn that up. I do want to say, though, as far as the inventory management goes, some people are saying it feels fun that Leon is so powerful and he holds so much stuff. I do enjoy the fact that she doesn't have as much, and you got to be real careful of what you're carrying, what guns you're having, where you're keeping. Do you think they balanced it properly, or do you think there's something where she is, if you're new to Resident Evil, is she maybe too underpowered?
I think that it captures both perfectly because it's a hard balance. Because if you ask somebody, are you a Resident Evil fan? What does that mean?
Right.
Like, does that mean, do you like the classic games, like the tank controllers where you have the inventory management? Do you have 7 and 8 where it's just first person? Do you have Resident Evil 2 or 3 remake where it is horror inventory management? But it's over the shoulder, so it's not as action. Or do you have 4? There's a lot of people whose favorite is 4, or 5 who prefer it's just over the top action and you're just shooting, but you're fighting these zombies and these monsters. So what does it mean to be a Resident Evil fan? It's really hard to say. There's tons of people that argue what is the true and best form of Resident Evil, how it started, what put it on the map, what made it popular, the remakes coming back now and seemingly moving Capcom into this new era of their business and like what it means to be a remake. So this captures like a good balance of the peak gameplay from, I would say, the biggest camps that aren't just saying, hey, take controller, people are always going to be there because they have that love for the classics. I personally I like them, and I do love Resident Evil Remake, the GameCube, or, just that one in general, which is tank, and it looks a lot better. But generally, these just play better, they feel better. I do love both. I'm more into the survival horror where I'm not overpowered, but I do appreciate going through with Leon, having fun, and doing whatever, because it is so horror.
Yeah, I do want to point out that there are a lot of things you can do to help out your gameplay. There is some like assisting on aiming and things like that, so if the game does kind of get hard, there are a couple things you can go into the options. But as far as the game starts, there's 3 difficulties that you can go through, which is casual, which is if you're not confident about playing a third-person shooter, then casual is the mode for you. You won't have to worry about ink ribbons, and auto saves are frequent. This is the easiest way to play through Requiem. But then you have standard, which is modern, and then you have standard, which is classic, and then once you beat the game, you unlock Insanity. And now I'm just playing it on casual. You've just beaten it. You played it on which one? Did you play it on classic or modern?
I played it on normal modern first.
Modern, okay. And then your next run you're going to do is Insanity?
No, I'll probably do like the speed run first, and then I'll do Insanity. Okay. Because then you can get unlimited ammo, and I just want to cruise, so I don't want to beat my head against the wall or anything. I do think that this is like kind of a rare one where they have a missed opportunity. I think instead of especially too, because once you have the higher up difficulties, if you beat one, it unlocks achievements for all the others, that there should have been something in between normal and Insanity, because normally they have like a hardcore, like a hard mode. So I think that would have been nice, because even playing on normal, there were some times where I died, especially trying to figure some stuff out. More often than not with Grace, because I don't want to waste my resources and I'm trying to figure some stuff before later on I ended up with like a big abundance that I could easily be like, okay, there's some people too, especially if you play tons of stuff like this, that hard would have been the better option for you to feel scarier. I might have even actually tried hard first before being like, okay, like I can't do this, I'm gonna dumb it down, because I felt like I was getting through at a good pace and no problem, but I maybe would have liked a little bit more of a challenge.
Nice, yeah, because for me, I mean, I do feel like casual is
if you're just playing for the story, that's
easy, but yeah, for me, I'm like, that's really all I do is play the Resident Evils 4. As far as that goes, I mean, that's kind of all the bullet points I had. If there's anything else you want to dive into, I'd argue just that if you are, as a hint, I don't know if you have any hints you want to throw at anybody, but I've noticed that me and Sam were noticing that, like, because I was always nervous about having the flashlight on when you're around zombies. It doesn't seem that the flashlight does anything. So if that is something you're worried about, feel free to use it as much as possible. As far as the lights on the wall go, there are some zombies that will come over and try to turn them off and things like that. But use your flashlight as much as you want. I haven't seen an issue with it. I don't think there is one. And just as a point, is there anything else you want to add or hints you want to give to people to play? I just don't want to go too much into the story without spoiling it. Is the overall game one of the best in the business?
Yeah, I really, really like it a lot. I have like one, especially at the start, the only thing I'll say is, so you feel like you're bouncing between Leon and Grace pretty, I don't want to say consistently, and sometimes you get a little more of her, but it feels like there's a good balance where you're like, okay, I'm getting the best of both worlds while moving on through the storyline. But then you hit a chunk where it's just like all Leon, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of just like COD shootered out now, because that's all I'm doing is just fighting people, the horror's kind of gone, and it goes on for like a kind of a big section before you get back to that balancing act. And so that's the only thing, that's like my biggest complaint, is that kind of like threw me out of it, that I'm just like, okay, now I just feel like it's a little bit of a slog, because now it's just the meat grinder. I'm just sitting here, just smashing these people. And there is a challenge to be proposed by them, because they do get stronger. I really like the enemy variety on this type. There are lots of zombies. I feel like there's a couple that are maybe a little too, like, one-time use. But there are a lot of just unique ones. Even just your interactions with them. it just felt very different. If that kind of makes sense to past games, like it doesn't feel like I'm just shooting the same zombie over and over. And maybe it's not so much the design, but a slight small spoiler. It says like that this version of the T virus helps, what it does to the zombies is they kind of retain some of their personality. So there's like a maid like trying to kind of
they're talking or whatever stuff to each other. Like I like that.
And so it just makes it feel like you're almost like a little more. I don't want to say sympathetic, but in a way you kind of are, because like, okay, like before you're just killing bags of meat, but now it's like you do realize too, these are people on top of just, okay, I killed this person, but now I feel bad because I read it in a note. Now I feel doubly bad. I do want to throw out that I really love the map design on this.
Love the map design. Wow, yeah.
Because it feels like you're playing a classic like the Mansion or the RPD, where you're kind of just going back and forth. There's no like hardcore puzzles. There are a couple where you're like maybe require you to think a little bit, or some even like off the rip. I feel like there's a couple like little areas where I'm like, okay, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do here, and I feel like I'm dying 3 different times, so I'm just either trying to charge through or do this or that, and obviously it's the wrong answer. It's just really nice because you spend a good majority of your time in this spot and you're just going kind of back and forth, that it gives you that classic feel. And it is just I love going, even although it's one-bit building, I feel like, okay, when I'm in this side, I memorize what's over here, because it feels distinctly different than how it is on that side. Yeah,
I will say the map is really cool of showing where to go. I'm constantly looking at it. See, I guess we can't really go past this without mentioning this point. The weaponry, because she gets the gun called the Requiem, right? That's kind of what the game's about. It's got this big blast you can do, and I do want to... It was cool to see that... She also gets, what do they call I want to call them the hyper-injective needles, but she has a really cool ability. So the difference between two of them is that she has an ability to get these infected blood, and she has ability to craft a certain way as far with using scrap. But the weapons are really cool. I haven't seen too much more of what Leon gets. I'm at the point where he just has a shotgun and his pistol. But playing with her, even though it is more escape room, there are some really cool guns. The Requiem gun is really cool, especially once you definitely make sure you go find the blood samples, because there's like the white, the green, and the purple, and you can take it to a room. I would say as a hint, try to find those as quick as you can. I think you need the level 2 key card to get both of those, and you can start crafting some more things, especially bigger bullets for her, because taking on like the big boy guy that's in there, and you can do the chunk. You can do it with 3 of those needles or 3 of those headshots with the big gun. So I would say as a hint, make sure at least go looking for those as soon as you can. But as far as the weaponry goes, she's really cool. Does Leon get anything more out of the ordinary? I mean, do we still have rocket launchers and things like that?
No, nothing over the top. You do get some like more weapons with him that you're using, so you get like like SMG and snipers and stuff like that. I guess as far as like hint-wise too, I think one of the bigger things that I like, and I guess maybe take this as a slight kind of spoiler, because you more encounter it in the beginning, is as you're going back and forth, you want to be careful with who you kill, because after a certain amount of time, these zombies will turn into something.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
If you kill them, they'll turn into something called like a blister head, where they're insanely strong. Your pistol's not really going to do too much to them. They're going to sit there and tank that ammo, or you're going to have to shoot them with the Requiem. So it's almost like the Crimson Heads from RE1 remake. And so I just didn't realize. So there was like a couple spots where I'm going through and I'm like, damn, dude, I killed this guy, and now I'm dreading going back because I know that he's probably going to be changed by now. But once you kill them or knock them on the ground, if you use Grace's needle, which again, you kind of want to decide, ration, like, okay, do I want to clear out this area for when I come back through here, or maybe this is a one-time area, so I don't feel like I'm going to have to do that, is you can either kill them off the bat with it if you sneak up on the zombies, or you can, after you kill them and knock them on the ground, you can pop them with it too and kill them. So there is a big benefit to playing stealthily, especially with this, that it does not always help just to go in guns blazing.
Nice, guys. So that is our review over Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Anything else you want to add on top of that?
No, if you're sleeping on it, get it. If you feel like maybe 11 hours isn't worth the price point for you, I would just say get it down the road then. I think it is worth it there, but I personally love the story, and I go for quality over that quantity of time, and I had a blast putting this front to back. Like, this game, without going into spoilers, just has so many just call-outs to all the previous games. Like, if you're a fan of Resident Evil, there's just all kinds of stuff in here. There was stuff, like, later on, one of the worst points, something happened, and I'm like, dude, there's no way. And my son happened to wake up, so I wasn't able to get back and play. And I'm like, dude, I want to play so bad right now, and I really haven't had that kind of feeling with something in a while. That I was like, dude, just go back to sleep, please. Like, take another nap, something. Like, I just need to play a little bit more so I can see what's gonna happen with this situation and this person. But I love it.
Yeah, great rated game so far, and a lot of people
Game of the year runner.
It's Game of the Year runner, definitely. So, if you guys have been playing it or you're looking at getting it, let us know your guys' thoughts down below. So, with that being said, guys, we're gonna move into what are you up to. But Andrew and I take a second and talk about anything we've been playing, anything we've been watching, kind of catch you up with what we've been doing behind the scenes. So, Andrew, what do you got for me, my man?
Besides Requiem, they just did have the Server Slam for Marathon, so I thought I would go ahead and try it because I like Arc Raiders, so I've been having fun doing these goopers, getting out there and looting them and getting back with extracting, and I didn't care for it. At first, my biggest problem, especially from looking at trailers, I'm like, it doesn't look interesting. I don't like the visuals. After I started playing, I'm like, oh, you know what? I do like the way this is designed and looked. It feels a lot better, but I just feel like it's just kind of boring. Like, I feel like the weapons weren't boring. Going in and playing, and I played for a while too. I'm like, I just am running through, and it just feels like I'm going to event, almost like on Destiny. But on Destiny, I'm just trying to get my spheres, so that way I can go back and get like better guns and stuff, a looter shooter, versus now I have to extract with this stuff. I just don't feel like the enemies were that interesting. And when I play something like Ark, I am more of a PvP person. I understand that there are people that don't like that and they just want to get out there and loot stuff and then go back and build whatever and just be little loot goblins. I don't care if you have nothing. I'll kill you for your shoelaces. Like, I don't care if you have the exact same stuff that I have. I want whatever it is that you have, no matter what, on site. So for this, I just felt like I wasn't really running into anybody, and it's not the same. Like in Arc Raiders, there's ways that, I felt like I run into people all the time, even when I'm not trying to fight. And then they built a smaller map where it's like, okay, cool, like you're running into people all the time. And so when I was playing this, I'm like, this just ain't it because it's not for me. So maybe if you're one of those people who like Arc Raiders but you don't want to fight people, this might be better for you because I wasn't really running into anyone. I'm like, dude, this is just boring. That and the UI is atrocious. I just felt like there was just so much going on that I'm like, I'm over this.
I did want to put out this too, just so I put it in number. The Marathon Server Slam peaked at 143,621 through 146,621 concurrent players on Steam with strong initial engagement that trended downward towards 64,000 players later in the test. It says that the figures was only for Steam, but then the closed additional plays on PlayStation 5 and Xbox. But the comparison numbers fell short of competitor Arc Raiders, which peaked at 189,668 in a similar test. So it did come out and fell short compared to Arc Raiders. So just fun fact.
And I wonder, too, if it's because it came out the same weekend as Resident Evil, so how many people were like, I have to finish this story and play front to back versus go play this other game.
Right.
Who knows? And then as far as watching anything, I've finally been getting around to watching some stuff. I'm a big Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan. They have it on YouTube and a couple other places, but it's uploaded, is Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side of Dimensions. This came out in 2017, and I kind of didn't watch it. I don't know why. Maybe I just kind of like slept on it then. But I fell off Yu-Gi-Oh! Hard, especially after like the Pharaoh's arc and everything from just like with the original with Kaiba. Like I'm not like kind of huge into 5Ds or anything. So if you're like me, this centers around Yu-Gi-Oh! And Kaiba, and it's got like a lot of the classic battling system where they do get monsters out fast, but it's not synchro summoning or anything where they have like 10 OP monsters out in like 2 seconds or whatever. So I actually really, really liked it. The art style is absolutely beautiful on it, and I wish it would do maybe like another show or something like that I maybe didn't have to follow these people. Maybe kind of just takes the dueling back to being simplified because I just felt like it just got too out of hand for me with like synchro summoning and then V-Arc and then this and that. And that's kind of where I lost interest. That if they were to redo something, I would love to see that. But if you're into Yu-Gi-Oh!, I think you'd really like it, especially if you're a fan of the original. Because that's kind of what it feels like, especially because, again, it's centered on Yugi, Kaiba. You see, like, obviously the OG crew and some people are a little bit designed differently, but it's nowhere as egregious as I feel like watching Dragon Ball Super or like Boruto where I'm like, yeah, look how they massacred my boy.
Right on. As far as what I've been up to watching-wise, I just saw on Hulu Predator Badlands, which is a young predator outcast from his clan. He finds an unlikely ally on his journey in search of the ultimate adversary. Dude, this thing was badass. ass, and I really wish I would have saw it in theaters. As much as I love Prey, and I don't know all
I was about to say better than Prey?
I think it's better than Prey.
Really?
But I would never have liked Predator Badlands as much if I didn't like Prey as much. And because Prey shows it from hers, because they do add, is it Elle Fanning in here? And she's one of the...
Android?
Yeah, the Android kind of people. So it keeps that human element consistent, which is why I like Prey so much. How cool she was. I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are, but the opening, man, with the main Predator, you meet his dad, who's dressed badass, dude. He looks like a Witch King. It was sick, man. The story is awesome. It's got a lot of heart. It's fantastic. All the fight scenes were sick. The ingenuity of him being able to craft things on the fly, like... I thought it was an awesome movie. So
I'll probably watch it this weekend.
I wish we would have saw it in theaters, man. So if you do get a chance to check it out, me and Sam watched it, and again, it's on Hulu. It was bad ass, and I do want to say it did break. It's doing great. Predator Badlands, directed by Dan Trachtenberg, has shattered multiple records to become the highest-grossing film in the 38-year Predator franchise, earning over $184 million worldwide. It also set a new franchise record with a $40 million domestic opening and $80 million global debut, surpassing Alien vs. Predator, which was the previous highest one. So, dude, all the kudos in the world, man. It's fantastic, and I really hope you check it out this weekend. As far as what I've been playing... Again, like I said, I've been going back on the GameCube on the Switch too. I just beat Luigi's Mansion.
Love it.
It was a great game. Luigi's Mansion was a 2001 action-adventure game developed and published by Nintendo. It's the third video game in which Luigi is the main character instead of Mario. It was a lot of fun. It makes me want to play the other two. I don't want to say it's simple, but it really is just a lot of kind of fetch questing. You got to hunt each ghost, and you got to get the keys to unlock the rest of the mansion, and you can't really progress. So it is going back and forth. They do add power-ups such as getting fire, getting water, and getting ice, which lets you kind of hit different ghosts. And at the end, I mean, I didn't know how the boss fight worked at the end, so I'll leave that for you. But it's a really cool boss fight at the end. I really like the ending. And I like at the end, because there are kind of some optional ghosts, because at the end, Dr. Egad, you put them all in this machine, and it kind of pumps out who you got to catch. And I thought the variety of different ghosts were really cool of who you get to see. Like, there's like the strongman guy that you got to knock out with the punching bag. There's the lady who's in the shower who looks hot. You move the curtain. Some big fat lady. So, and I thought it was very clever and had a lot of heart. I know it's one of your favorite games.
I love that game. Did you, at the end, get a little rinky-dink house or a mansion? Because that is based on how much money you get.
I didn't even notice that there was a thing at the end of the house.
Yeah, it's based on like how much money you get, and you'll have like just like a rinky-dink house, or you could have like a big mansion.
Oh, you know what? I'll go. I still have my save file, so I should be able, because with the Switch you can kind of rewind it. I'll go back and see what I got. I didn't even notice to look at that, because I was collecting money. I'm like, what's the point of all this? I didn't realize. I thought it was just like a high score that didn't matter. But so I'll go back and check that then.
I don't remember how the game overall ends or something. Like I remember the main story stuff without spoiling anything, I guess. But I think I don't remember if they build it in the same property or something else. But yeah, they revamp whatever, and so like you could end up with like just like a nice little house or something like that, or not like another big mansion. But that's what the money is for.
I will check that out. And then my other game that I just beat was Romeo is a Dead Man. After Romeo is murdered, but saved by his grandfather's dead gear technology, it keeps him alive in limbo space. The whole concept is, as part of the space-time police, Romeo hunts down alternate evil versions of his girlfriend, Juliet, who has disappeared across time and space. The gameplay features intense combat using a beam katana, along with exploring subspace versions of levels to solve puzzles. It's a really wacky game. It's done from Pseudo51 and Grasshopper Manufacturer. And if you're familiar with Pseudo51, his type of games are like Killer 7, No More Heroes, and Lollipop Chainsaw.
Lollipop Chainsaw.
It's zany, man. But you've got to expect that when you're playing these Pseudo51 games. It's like an acid trip, man. The bosses are really cool. There's a lot of different variety of enemies, but you constantly go through different styles. Like there's 8-bit art when you're on the ship. There's a space traveling kind of level when you want to go to these different places. The game's kind of told in a comic book perspective. I'm going to write actually it's already out on Instagram if you kind of want to check my more overall review on it to dive into it. It's I think it's $50. If you're really into this game or you're really interested in it, I would say check it out. It is a lot of fun. It's 8 chapters, so you can beat it fairly quickly, but I would say if it's something that you're on the fence about, maybe wait till it's $20, because it's very weird. As far as the storyline goes, it was really cool tracking down Juliet, but there's so much conversations like on the ship that I was really just kind of skipping a lot of it. It was just a lot of I don't know if it was fluff or not, but it didn't really hit me that much. And then I also, because of the Pokemon game, I just started Pokemon Leaf Green, but I'll leave that more conversation till our next
start with
episode.
at least.
I did Bulbasaur because normally I always pick Charmander and Squirtle, but I was telling you and I was telling Casey and them that I want to play a team I've never played with. And I played with Bulbasaur in the past, but like this team will be a brand new team that I don't normally use. So like no Gyarados, no Nidoking.
I like trying to do that too.
Yeah, so this one will be fun because I've been in the Pokemon games enough times where like let's throw a helmet, maybe get a Persian or something like that. Use something like a Chansey. I've never played with a Chansey, maybe a Wigglytuff. So I'll kind of chime in more next week when we talk about it and see. I'll kind of catch up on where my team is. I did beat Brock and I got my first badge, so I'll leave it at that. So. Guys, that brings us an end to this episode. Let us know down below, you guys, your thoughts and what you've been playing and what you've been up to. That is the end of episode 227. Until next time on episode 228. My name is Craig Perales. That is Mandrew Montemare. Cheers.
See you in Raccoon City.